Hey Afronauts, I'm Chelsea Gatum.
I'm Beatrice Winifred Eicher.
And I'm Jill too. And welcome to Afronauts Podcast. Hey y'all.
Hey, how's it been?
Hey.
It's been pretty good. How's your week going?
Good. Autumn has arrived.
It's autumn.
It's not autumn. Not
Do
officially.
you say
It's
fall or
autumn.
autumn? I say fall. Do you say fall or autumn?
Autumn sounds nice, but I'm a fall girl.
Well,
Yeah,
Beatrice
I
is
say autumn
a
because
poet.
You're right. Autumn.
It's poetic.
It is autumn here, and I'm loving it. Highs in the mid-60s.
What's the high? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
High of what?
Yeah.
The mid-60s.
Mid-60s.
Are the leaves
in the
turning?
mornings, like for my runs are like 40s,
Ooh.
50s.
Frigid.
Frigid.
But that's tolerable.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful for a run.
Yes,
Yeah.
for a run, that's perfect.
Well,
yeah.
I would have to wear like a
For
mask
for a
because my little
run.
lungs can't handle the cold.
Beatrice, you're on sub now, right?
Ooh.
I am on sub for the first time ever.
How is that going? Where's your mental health at?
Good, because I am now 2 projects after that one.
Mm-hmm.
I am just like, I'm moving.
You've just forgotten. You're just
forward.
like, yeah, that makes sense.
I've forgotten it fully. Like
that's the only way to do it and stay.
Yeah, that sounds
and
good.
that's the best
Yeah.
way. That's the best thing I think I could have done. I'm really proud of myself for doing that. Like,
yeah,
I wrote that picture book, and then I finished. I finished the middle grade today.
Ooh,
Which is really exciting.
That is really exciting.
Literally like hours ago.
awesome. Like literally today.
And literally today, and sent it to my agent. So that's done. And my brain has now moved on to my YA horror.
That is fantastic.
When I say that's why I'm like, I am so far passive, because I cannot, if I sit there and worry about that book, I won't write the 3 other ones that are waiting for me. So
sure, yeah.
That's
trying
the
to focus
key.
on the next thing.
That's great.
Yeah, stay busy.
Yeah. What about you being on sub, Jill? This is like your 18th time, so
No,
Feels like
this in this
is
industry.
my 3rd time on sub, yeah, and it's going okay. I feel like it comes in waves. Like sometimes I'm like totally fine. There's definitely like enough going on in my like other writing projects that I should be distracted. But it comes in waves. I think, if I had gone on submission with a full manuscript, I think I wouldn't even be thinking about it, because it's like, oh, it's a full manuscript. Someone's got to read it, like it, get second reads, go to acquisitions, et cetera, et cetera. Because it's a proposal, I'm like, oh, like they could read that really fast. Like it could be happening right now. They could be, and so
someone could be like, this is ready.
Yeah. And so I think only for that reason, I'm thinking about it more than I probably should. But I'm doing okay. I really am. I think, like I said, enough is happening. So I, in the time since going on submission 2-ish weeks ago, I've gotten more line edits for The Dividing Sky, and have gone back and forth on those with my editor a couple times. Actually, today I just got like the last like hour's worth of revisions to do before my editor puts that up on like the Penguin Random House like internal portal, because 2 weeks
please explain to the listeners what the portal is.
It's probably like a Google Drive thing, like the internal system thing, but basically what it's for is like they put up all the information they have for all these books that are going to internal launch in a couple of weeks. So internal launch is when everybody within a publishing house, or probably like an imprint or a division of imprints, gets together, and it's not just the editor, it's marketing and sales and publicity and like audiobooks and foreign rights and like all these people in like a big conference room, probably with like
everybody and their mama,
everybody. And then the editors, like it's like a debutante. It's like a coming out into society thing, where the editors like introduce the slate of books for that season.
For the next,
exactly.
I love that energy.
Beautiful gowns.
Do they have PowerPoints and shit? I would love for it to be.
I think they might. Like, because I think they show the cover.
They should go like beyond mood boards. It should be like a whole thing.
Aesthetics, yeah.
Okay, good.
Like they do the cover. They probably do like a couple of quick like pitches. My editor asked me to record a like 90-second video, like introducing myself and the book and like unique things about why I wrote it. So I did that and sent that in this weekend. And so all that goes in.
Okay, TikTok queen.
Package. I know, right? I was like, what? it's hard to
Jill
do.
said, I did it.
I did it. I mean, it's one thing to like lip sync over memes. It's another thing to talk about your book straight for like a minute and a half. But I did it.
Fair.
I wrote a little script. I figured it out. I think it went okay. But yeah, so we were like buttoning it up, basically like locking it for plot like today. And so the story's like, knock on wood, like kind of wrapped. And so it's funny, like she's uploading it to that portal like Friday. And then over the next 2 weeks before internal launch, they're going to be reading it and like making a plan, I guess. And then they'll all come together to discuss things at actual launch. And I think I'm more nervous about that than I am about being unsubbed. But I feel like, yeah, being perceived.
It
and
makes
like,
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, you know, like they tell you not to make too much of it. And like, I'm not, but also like, this is the time when like the game plan starts to get solidified, right? Like the marketing strategy, the budget, the sales plan, who they're going to pitch the book to as far as booksellers, like all of that is happening starting in like 2 weeks. And so it's hard not to be like,
damn, I love
it's so exciting though.
It's
so exciting.
It's really exciting. And it's kind of like, I was telling other debut friends that are kind of like stressing about it. I was like, it's kind of like studying for the SATs the night before. Like the work is done. Like you're not going to get any benefit by like
if it's not there, it's
like the book is done.
Be there.
The work is the work. And so I'm, it's in every sense of the word, it's out of my hands. But I'm still freaking out about it and kind of waiting to see what happens. And also the thing is like, no one's gonna tell you if like it went well. Like you're just gonna hear, oh, it went great. Like no matter what, it's just, oh, it went great.
Whether it went well or not, right?
Because like publishing hates giving authors bad news.
Well, they bought the book already.
They did.
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
actually, like, you're a shit writer. We never mind. We changed our mind.
Well, it could be like, people liked it, but it's too bad. Like Lee Bardugo has a book coming out that same day, so too bad. So sad.
Good luck.
Good luck
so we're gonna cancel the whole thing.
Exactly. Better luck next year.
Logic.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's like I'm getting nervous about this thing that like I can't control, and I will have probably no idea what the outcome was, but it's still like, oh man, like it's happening. So yeah.
That's crazy that you know it. You know what's gonna happen, you know what's going on, you know who all is gonna be there.
And you can't be in the room. Like you're not allowed in the room where they're like talking
even, like,
about
a fly on the wall.
Talk about you, your book baby, like all this stuff, like publicity potential, and it's just like, hope it goes great, guys. So
after this meeting, is that when we'll officially meet publicity marketing?
So
if they are the kind that reaches out to, I know they don't always talk to authors.
Yeah, I think like it depends on the imprint and again like where you are in that slate, if they decide that you need like that level of investment. But yeah, so basically my understanding is that they will start to go back behind the scenes and start to work on stuff after this meeting, but I won't talk to them until probably like 6 months out, if I talk to them at all. So I still won't get introduced to them until like the spring. So yeah, but I might have like a release date.
How much planning goes into this?
I think a lot. I mean, yeah, I think
so much.
Sounds like it.
Like
for so
much.
Long, for so many years ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild.
That's why it takes so long to publish a book, people.
Yeah, like all these different like elements of the machine have to like come together and like work in harmony.
So many different departments. Yeah, and like
but still so exciting.
And then should get edits back for a project that I still can't talk about on Friday as well, and hopefully I can talk about it.
That's soon. Fun.
So fun. Anyway,
we can all talk about the projects we can't talk about.
I know. Chelsea, how are you doing?
Good. I don't really have much going on, honestly. I'm just still working on the Guardian edits, and I'm making more progress though. It's like some things click.
You said you're in like act 2.
Act 2, end of act 2. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm nearing the end of act 2, so it's like okay. I the halfway point was really like sticking me, but now I feel like I'm moving along.
The halfway point is like the midpoint of a story is hard. Like it's just hard.
Yes, it is.
I still keep going back and forth, but I need to press forward. I've already decided to change my first chapter. Like I'm gonna go back and change it.
Yeah,
there's some things that I know I need to get rid of, and some things I know I need to include now.
Yeah, but I've heard, I can't remember who. I want to say it's Cassandra Clare, the author. She always, when she starts drafting, she starts like 3 chapters in, because she's like, I know the beginning is going to change, because the beginning always changes to kind of mirror your ending, or like you kind of incorporate things.
Yeah, my beginning's been the same for a while, but now it's like I'm seeing, I should probably have this little hint thrown in.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to lay
absolutely, like in revisions you see like, oh, I need to like foreshadow this. Or
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But the people who beta read for it have been super helpful.
Like, I loved it. I thought it was great.
So much help. But
I'm so excited.
I'm ready to finish.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to get out there.
I'm ready for you to query. Okay, y'all. So, what media, books, etc. have y'all been consuming lately?
So, what did I just finish? Oh, My Hero Academia, season 6. I think.
Yeah. I have not seen this, but I've heard it's good.
Yeah, I think I'm caught up as I can be. The rest of it was in Japanese, so I still watch. I love that show. I'm so excited for what comes next.
That's so cool. I've been thinking about getting into some anime. I think I can't remember who I was listening to talk about a middle grade adventure they're starting, and that they wanted to structure it like an anime. And I was like, oh, like interesting, like different like story structure. And so I've been thinking about maybe watching some anime to get a sense for the like
that'd be fun.
Yeah. So I feel like that idea of like enemies and like bosses and stuff, like I don't know, I think that's kind of cool. So do you have any that you'd recommend, Chelsea? Are you mostly in My Hero Academia?
I mean, like the classics, like Naruto and maybe One Piece if you want to like get,
I've heard
like lose your life.
What does that mean?
Have you seen it on Netflix?
It's good. I have not seen the live action though.
Okay.
But One Piece is one of those things where it's like I had to stop. I mean, I was enjoying it, but then I was like, it was forever long, so it's like,
oh, okay.
I just can't commit.
20 seasons?
Bleach is good. Yeah, exactly. Right? Crazy.
Seasons? That's ridiculous. Okay. All right. I'll do some research.
One Piece has really loyal fans though.
Really loyal. I mean, if you're going to give 20 seasons of your life to something,
I mean, yeah. Oh, good segue into my media, which is Doctor Who.
Oh, okay. I might get back into Doctor Who
long-term loyal fans.
With the 60th anniversary.
Because the anniversary is coming back in November.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Shuti Gatwa is gonna be there. He's gonna be the Doctor. Actually, I don't think he's gonna be there for the first one. He's gonna be there for there's like 4 specials. There are 4 specials, and he's not gonna be. It doesn't matter. Anyway, him, David Tennant, Catherine Tate.
I know. I can't believe Donna's coming back. That's so great.
Right? My sweet. Oh God, I'm so excited for this. Listen,
I have to. Maybe
I have a TARDIS tattoo. I have a TARDIS tattoo on
my arm. I didn't know that.
I love Doctor Who
this
so much.
That's amazing.
I have a TARDIS on my arm.
I did not know that.
I am such a huge Doctor Who fan. I am screaming, crying, throwing up at the 60th anniversary specials.
Oh my god,
that are coming this year.
I have like my TARDIS journal. It's like right here.
Love that. Of course, the Afronauts are Whovians. That's what I
have to be.
I am starting to rewatch from the beginning of the reboot with 9. And gonna watch all the way through and I'm preparing my body, my soul for the 50th anniversary episodes.
That's huge.
What about you, Jill? What are you consuming with media?
Yeah, consume is the right word, because when I finished my line edits last week before I got like the quick turn today, my brain was jelly, and I was like, I worked really hard to turn this around in a week, and it was a lot of changes, and I was just like wiped, and I was like, I need a good like rom-com, like full of banter, like no speculative anything, like real world, like just give it to me. And You Again by Kate Goldbeck just came out like 2 weeks ago. It's
did it give it to you?
It was incredible. It's so good. So if you like rom-coms, it's all of the like When Harry Met Sally vibes. Like it's literally like a modern reboot of When Harry Met Sally. And so it's like this couple that meets over and over like across like 10 to 12-ish years in New York City.
Ooh.
And it's so good. The first time they meet, they're both sleeping with the same woman. And then like it kind of like escalates from there. It's really funny. But the banter is incredible. Like just like the vibes and the like will they won't they. A friend of mine in the debut Slack actually was talking about it, and she was like, I don't know if I liked either of the main characters as people, but I loved them for each other. And like, that's what made it so compelling to read.
Good
was
for
just like, you
them.
want to see it happen, right?
I guess that's what a romance is supposed to be, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Supposed to
sometimes you
root
like
for
the
them.
people, like sometimes you like the individual people, but this was one where it was like, you guys are both kind of like awful, but you make each other so happy. Yeah, you make each other so happy, and like
I love that for
it's like
you.
genuine emotion. And so yeah, I was like cheering for them, you know, cheering for the relationship, and maybe like y'all need therapy. But yeah, it's really, really good. Highly recommend. It's got great fall vibes, great like New York City vibes. Just like really fun.
Oh, New York City. Wow.
Really, really fun.
Speaking of great vibes.
Speaking of great vibes, and speaking of the 2024 debuts that I was chatting with, I was editing this episode this morning, and I just got so excited for Avery and Etta, who are the debuts that we talked to in this episode. Both of their debuts are coming up. I think they're in January and February, something around that. So like it's like, you know, it's even closer now, like right around the corner. Both of these books are going to be so fantastic. These authors deserve a world of success, and it's just so funny to even think about like all the stuff that has happened for them, just kind of like behind the scenes in the month since we spoke to them. Just like really exciting things are happening with publicity and marketing, and I just can't wait to see their careers take off. Today, we're so excited to have a very special episode with some of next year's debut authors, Avery Cunningham and Etta Easton. We'll be getting into the nitty-gritty of all their debut years' highs and lows so far.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, y'all.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so glad to be here, and so glad to see so many faces. I'm familiar with the podcast, so of course I know Jill, but it's great to see like Beatrice's face. I'm a little starstruck.
A little bit. Oh no,
that's just every time I hear that, I'm like, that can't possibly be true. But yeah, okay. Well, let's start off with everyone's least favorite question. Please introduce yourselves and give us a quick pitch of your book.
So I'm Etta Easton. My book is called The Kiss Countdown. It's an adult romance fake dating between an event planner and an astronaut. We've got, I like to throw in some good tropes, like so fake dating. We've got forced proximity. Got a couple of nights of only one bed. So I've got my event planner. She's just really down on her luck. She's trying to get over something that happened with her mom when she runs into her ex-boyfriend who's like trying to show off his new girlfriend. And then we've got the astronaut that just kind of swoops in to save the day, kind of. She actually ropes him into playing her fake boyfriend, and then she doesn't know that his sister is there, who now thinks that they're dating. So they have to keep the ruse going, and she has to help him as his family tries to come to terms with him having to go off to the moon. So just a lot of fun. It's kind of fluffy. It's a little spicy, but yeah, that's my book.
Yeah. And Etta was nice enough to let me read an advance copy, and it's so cute, you guys. It's like the family in this is like so fun. It's so nice to see like a Black family with like adult, like grown kids, right? And like healthy relationships, like loving each other, like siblings supporting each other. I thought it was really cute. And yeah, she's totally right. Like it's the perfect blend of sweet and spicy, and this couple is like so adorable. So yeah.
So excited for that, Etta.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm super hyped for that book in particular. I think about it all the time. Awesome. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name's Avery Cunningham. I'm a proud Memphis resident and owner of a very posh Bernese Mountain Dog. And this is also my debut year, of course. And to tell you a little bit about The Mayor of Maxwell Street, it's a work of adult historical fiction. It's set in the early 1920s in Chicago and revolves around two central characters, Nellie Sawyer and Jay Shorey. Nellie is the daughter of a wealthy Kentucky horse breeder who was often called the wealthiest Black man in America. Considering this, Nellie has grown up in relative privilege and isolation. Not much has been expected of her. Those expectations typically falling to her older brother, the family's presumed heir and inheritor of the Sawyer legacy. This leaves her plenty of time to pursue her dream of one day writing as an investigative journalist for the Chicago Defender, a historically Black news publication based out of Chicago. However, all of this changes when her brother dies tragically in a car accident. Her family is summoned to Chicago not only to lay him to rest, but also participate in what's being called the Grand Season, a time when the many insular Black communities of wealth and prestige have gathered together in an attempt to form a unified center of the most celebrated and lauded Black Americans to wield more of a national influence. Nellie is very dismissive of these proceedings at first and is a bit of an outsider. Her family is nouveau, rising up from rough origins comparatively, so she does not easily assimilate into the society events and gatherings. She fears that with the family's future now resting on her shoulders, her dreams of independence and career will be over before they begin. But the editor of the Chicago Defender offers her one chance at a way out. He gives her the impossible task of identifying, finding, and interviewing the murky head of an underground criminal organization known only as the Mayor of Maxwell Street. To help her find this person, she seeks the aid of Jay Shorey. Jay is the biracial son of a Black man and a white woman come up to Chicago to build a new life for himself. He's a low-level speakeasy manager and has aspirations of breaking into the world of the original Black elite, but like Nellie, finds himself often ostracized. He reluctantly agrees to help her on her quest to find the Mayor of Maxwell Street, and together they descend into the intriguing and dangerous world of the Chicago Underground.
Yo, wait. Yo, is there gonna be just Black bouginess here, like Black bougie drama?
Yes.
Black bougie mess?
Yes, we're getting into, there's a cotillion. If any of y'all ever participated in a cotillion, I've done the cotillion circuit, so we're gonna have cotillions. We got the boulets, we got the equivalent of Jack and Jill, because Jack and Jill did not exist at this time, which disappointed me greatly because I really want to get into the meat of that. But we have Jack and Jill, we have the sororities, we have the fraternities, we have excessive, beautiful, luxuriant Black wealth and prestige. Woo! Big houses, big cars, beautiful furniture, diamonds and jewels, all of it. Yes.
And y'all, if you have not seen the cover for this book, it is gorgeous, like phenomenal.
Yes,
they did an excellent job. I had nothing to do with it. But
we will, of course, have all this information in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Woo! Well, after those pitches, I was already excited, but I hope the readers or listeners are as excited as I am for these books, because 2024 is going to be incredible for debut books, maybe Black books in particular.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're winning awards.
Oh yeah.
We're coming for everybody. So let's talk a little bit about, just at a high level, so far, what has been the most rewarding part of, let's not say debut year, because we're not really there yet, but kind of this period leading up to debut year. What's been the most exciting and rewarding part so far, and then what's been the most challenging for y'all?
So I suppose what the most rewarding has been, and this was really unexpected, but really connecting with all of these incredible authors that are also coming out in 2024, and just authors in general. Especially I went to school to be a writer. I did the whole grad school situation and all of that. So coming out of it, you get very used to writing being a very insular, quiet, just you and your computer and your thoughts. So being a part of a community again has been truly the most rewarding situation, to have so many writers who are all going through similar things, but are all also writing in these drastically different genres, but are all creating, this wonderful, incredible, brilliant work, and are all so talented and supportive. So that has been the most rewarding aspect. And I didn't expect that at all going into this process. The most challenging, and I think a lot of people probably agree, is just kind of the hurry up and wait aspect of publishing, where you may spend, like 2 weeks or a month rushing to get something done or get something ready or get something prepped, or, you may have 2 weeks to do a whole pass of edits on your entire book, and everything is falling and the world is burning. But then it's nothing but silence for 3 months.
But then you're sitting on your ass waiting.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's probably been the most challenging part, is just getting used to the idea of letting go of whatever semblance of control you thought you had over the project, and letting it sit in other people's hands and hope that they represent it as well as you would want it represented yourself. So yeah.
Wow. I love that. I think you really hit it with control. That's something that people really don't, on a really high level, don't really think about, of like, you really do have to have a balance, because you have to have a certain amount of control, because if we're talking about traditional publishing, usually you have an agent, you have like you're in control to some degree, but also on another level, you are in control of absolutely nothing. And you have to like hold those two things in your mind at the same thing. Like the cognitive dissonance is dizzying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Etta, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot like Avery, like the one of the most exciting things has been just connecting with everybody. You know, it's surprising, like you think like you like usually stay into my little romance bubble, right? But now like I'm talking to all these people from different genres who are just like they're writing just amazing things, and I'm like, oh, you're my friend. Wow.
Right.
I get to go to the bookstore and say, I know her. I know
It's like, why are you talking to me? Right? Like, don't you know I'm not cool at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that has been super fun. Also just seeing how like my book has transformed. You know, like so I'm already at I've just finished past pages. So hopefully they'll be getting the book printed. But like every step, like just first getting to see those first cover sketches, just like, oh my gosh, like those are my people. And then just seeing the final cover, being able to turn in the copy edits to see how the book has transformed and become better and better. That's been super exciting. For challenges, yeah, I mean, the waiting just like sucks. It's like I turn in past pages, I'm like, why can't y'all just print it now?
Right.
Send it off. Like so the waiting is always just so hard. But I mean, it's publishing. We knew what we were getting into. I don't know why we did this, but, right?
Right.
It's been rewarding.
Yeah. I hear it'll be worth it at some point. I'm not sure I believe that yet.
Yeah.
I tell myself that every time something happens. I'm like, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Will it though? No, yeah. That's a real I feel like in the Slack, like what you were saying, Avery, about like letting go of that control, right? Like I feel like for so many people, like either the title or the cover was the first part of like, oh, this is a group project now, right? Like you spent so long writing this manuscript and working on the story, and now it's like it's not just up to you, right? It's up to the cover designers and illustrators, it's up to the marketing publicity teams, it's up to copywriters and all these people to make this whole package shine.
Right.
And sometimes that means like trusting other people's expertise or their instincts or what has worked for them in the past, and saying like, okay, like it's not the style of cover I would have chosen, but I'm coming from in my case like the dystopia heyday, like what, 12 years ago, right? So like what was popular then is not necessarily popular now, and so you have to kind of go with the experts' instincts on what's going to get people, whether it's internally at the publisher or externally when it comes to booksellers and readers, to pay attention.
The cover especially, like I'm not sure with everybody else's situation, but I had no say on the cover. They emailed me in October and said, here's your cover. It's like, oh
wow,
when did y'all start talking about this? And
right.
Like, oh, that's great.
Wow. No idea.
Anything? No, it's done. It's like,
right,
okay.
It's done. This is it. You don't get I mean, lucky for you, it's stunning. Wow. But imagine if it happened.
And you see how different the situations are. How everyone has a different situation with covers. Some people get sketches. They get like say, and like, as the process goes on, some people get an email saying this is your cover.
Yeah, it's so different. That's what's hard too, is like, I mean, it's good, the good and bad of having that community of like the debut Slack is like you get to see everyone's experiences, but you get to see everyone's experiences. So like sometimes it's hard not to compare, or to go to your publisher and be like, well, they got input or visibility into this thing that I didn't even know was happening, like what's up with that. But it's just kind of part of it. Like every publisher and every imprint and even every editor like does things differently within the same imprint. So you have to kind of go along for the ride a little bit.
Well, speaking of editors and publicity and marketing and design, my next question is about relationships with publishing professionals. As Jill said, this quickly becomes a group project. I'm interested in what everyone has learned about fostering, maintaining relationships with publishing professionals, starting with like your agent, which I assume came first. Doesn't have to, but most of the time it does. But I'm really interested to hear everyone's perspective on that part of this process.
Yeah, I did get my agent first before I got my publishing deal. What I've learned is that, yeah, it really is a group project. Um, I think like when I was querying, you're like, hey, I've got to get this agent, and like you think of it as the agent's gonna like tell you what to do, I guess, kind of. I don't know. But once you're in that relationship, it really is more of a collaboration. So like with my agent, she read my story, and then we went on a quick round of edits. And I mean, I knew going in exactly the kind of edits that she wanted me to do before we went on submission. And at the end of the day, I always had the final say if I was going to change something or not. So it's a collaboration, but ultimately, I mean, she let me know that I am the artist, which I definitely appreciate. She's just pretty much, she is there to help get my career going, which is what I love about her. And she always hypes me up. Like I can be in the middle of just like totally doubting myself, and I'll send her a message, and like she's right there to be a great cheerleader, which is great. I mean, I know not all agents are like that, so I feel like I really got lucky with her. My editor, she's been in publishing for a long time. Jim Jamesco Chambers Black is my agent. She's great. My editor is Essie Soga with Berkeley, and yeah, she's been editing for a long time. She's great. Like I feel like I've learned so much from her. And so at the end of the day, like she'll give me suggestions, she'll help me just dig into the story more, but it still is my choice what I'm going to incorporate, which I mean, I feel like I've gotten really, really lucky with the women I've been able to work with. And it's great. Like when I was on my call with my editor, it was me, Essie, Jim. It's just like looking at it, was like just Black girl magic, like how we are right now.
Yes.
I love it.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten so lucky in publishing right now. It's just been, I love my people, my team.
That's awesome.
It's so cool that you have like a all female team. And mine is mostly female except for my agent. He is the one male in like a sea of women, and he takes it all really well. But in terms of relationships with professionals, it's been really interesting and kind of reaching back to what Jill said about being in the Slack, how you can see how other people's relationships with their publishing team compares. With my agent, excuse me, his name is Richard Abate. We connected maybe 2 years ago when I did a ghostwriting situation, and that's where he became my agent. And he's very New York, very LA, very big ideas, fast talking. I may get an email from him every 5 months, but it's usually like a good thing. But otherwise, he's relatively silent. And then my editor is Cassidy, and I always mispronounce her last name, so I'm going to give it a go a couple of times if there needs to be like editing magic. Okay. But Cassidy Lee and Decker over at Hyperion Avenue. She's my editor, and she really has been extraordinarily. I didn't expect this level of, at least for me and from my perspective, almost hand holding, where she's been very attentive to me and caring of me. I am constantly freaking out about this project. I never think it's good enough, and I probably email her on a weekly basis like, we should pull the book, it's not good, we need to take it off the shelves, just stop it once. And she's very considerate, and she was a really great support to me during the drafting process, and was very much aware of what my strengths were, what my weaknesses were, and I never felt at any point that I was being guided or led to pursue something that maybe wasn't my dream for the book. It always came back to, what do you want to do, and how can we make that happen? So it's been incredibly supportive, and I'm just now starting up the relationship with like the publicists and the marketing professionals at Hyperion Avenue. So we haven't had a lot of conversation or chance to interact yet, since we just had our meeting, I think, last week. But so far, it also seems to be a same situation of a very transparent, supportive group of people, mostly women, except, like I said, except for Richard. But that was not expected. I guess we always hear the horror stories of how your agent is going to be chronically absent, or how your editor is going to mangle your entire vision and create something that has nothing to do with you. So you kind of go into the process prepped for that and kind of bracing yourself for that. So when you're surrounded by really supportive people who just like books and like stories and want to make the biggest impression that they can, it's a relief. It really is. So I've been really grateful for all of my interactions with the publishing team so far.
Wow. Jill, your turn.
Oh my gosh, what? No, I write the questions. I'm not supposed to answer them.
Answer.
Oh, no, wait, no. Okay, hang on.
What is your relationship like with Jen?
Oh yeah, okay. So my relationship with Jen is great. So
there you go.
I was gonna ask. So Jen is pretty editorial. I was gonna ask you guys if your agents are like editorial at all. Like, you said that Richard emails you once every 5 months. So I'm guessing not so much.
He's not remotely editorial. It's not that
I was about to say,
he's just really busy. He has his client list is massive, and he has some real heavy hitters out there that are beyond me. Like half of his people are literary, and the other half are all actors. And so he's I understand. I'm not
right. You're like, I get it.
He's not getting his biggest cut from my advance. That's for sure. So I understand that. But if I have an idea or a proposal or an outline, he is always there to give feedback on it. It's more that I feel like it's more, you're the writer, so I trust you to make the decisions that you need to make it work narratively. But if you're trying to decide how it looks industrially speaking, then that's where he comes in. If I'm trying to figure out where to place different books along the future, years of publishing, that's where he really comes in. But otherwise, he feels like he just has maybe some misguided faith in my ability to write a book.
So your debut, was it sold on proposal?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay.
It was crazy.
Very cool.
It was great, but also don't recommend. I wrote a book in 8 months and it hurt. It physically
Whew.
Okay.
I love that though. I mean, I feel like I was just talking with some other people about this the other day, actually, that like there's this like list of things that an agent that is an agent's responsibility, right? And some agents have, kind of bigger priorities on certain attributes than others, right? Like some are the like contract negotiators, some have all the relationships, some are the strategic kind of like industry placement experts, like you said, some are editorial. I feel like all those different buckets, matter more or less to different authors. And so when you're picking an agent, you have to really find somebody that aligns with your skill sets and what you need help with and what you don't need help with and what you really want someone to push for you. So yeah, that being said, I think Jen and I fit really well. She's a little bit more editorial, but she's also like super like business savvy and really, I think I'm going to say this word, but I mean it in a good way, like sharky when it comes to like contract negotiations. She's been like really helpful to have someone in my corner.
On your side.
Yeah,
it's
on my
good
side.
to have a shark on your side. But that's not the issue.
But I'm like, I don't know what this is. Like, what do I do? And she's like, oh no, like, like we're going to push for this because, just concede down the road, things I wouldn't even think of. So I think really, really important to have someone like that reading over your contracts and advocating for you. Other thing agents can do if you need them to is to step in and kind of play like helpful intermediary with your editor. So if there ever is a case where you have, an issue with your publishing team or something you're not quite sure about, the agent can play a really helpful role in getting clarity for you or, tracking answers down, so that kind of stuff. I haven't had to do that yet with Joy Revolution, my publishing house, but yeah, like it's helpful to know that Jen is there if I ever need that. And then Bria, my editor, I mean, she is just like, she's about her business. I don't know how else to say it. Like she is like so on top of her deadlines and she has like such high standards for all the books that she works with and the authors she works with. And it's to be on the receiving side of that can be kind of scary because you're like, does she know that like I don't know how to write a book like this? Like I can't actually do this. Like she must be confused. But then she like pulls it out of you. Like I just turned in my line edits.
You wrote the book.
Last week. I wrote the book. I did it. Yeah. I mean, we'll see if she likes it, but I feel like I was able to far exceed my own expectations of what this book could be because of, her edit letters and the things that she encouraged me to think about and kind of probe more deeply on. So yeah, it's been great. And like, yeah, I'm too early in the process to be doing the marketing publicity stuff, but I hope it'll be great. So yeah, on the editorial side, I'd love to dig a little bit more deeply into the editorial process for both of your books. So Avery, especially, you mentioned that you wrote the Mayor of Maxwell Street on proposal after selling the proposal. So then you drafted it under contract, which is really interesting and kind of a different side of the debut experience. It isn't super common for fiction debuts, so would love to hear about that. But in general, what's it been like working with someone on your book so closely? And have there been any times when you had to kind of advocate for your book in the editorial process as it went from being something that was your baby to being a shared project?
Yeah, definitely. And it's curious because you're right. No one talks about the concept of selling on proposal as a debut. I didn't think it was an option. I went through, undergrad English, grad school writing program, and everything was the same. Like you spend 10 years writing the book and then you prostate yourself.
Right.
And hope that somebody will be interested. But
right.
This opportunity was fantastic. And honestly, I'm grateful for it every single day, the chance to sell something on proposal. That did change the editorial process, certainly. In a sense, it has always been a team effort. It started as a team effort. I of course gave the full outline at the beginning, the pitch, the synopsis, the essence of what the book was going to be. But from that very beginning, editorial has had the freedom to comment or to give feedback. I did the full outline probably somewhere in April roundabouts, and my editor had full leverage to give comments on that, to offer editorial assistance. And for me, that was actually super helpful because I knew pretty much at the start what they were looking for and what they expected of the story. It wasn't a guessing game where I would produce a full work and then they would tell me all the things I had to change about it after doing a year's worth of work. So being able to have that team early on and have that chance for feedback early on was really super helpful for me. So I felt pretty much from day one of drafting that I understood where this book needed to go and understood what was expected of me when I put in the proposal and what they really liked about the proposal and what they would like about the final product. So that was super helpful.
So timeline wise, that's April 2022.
Yes, excuse me.
Yeah, thank you. Right. Yeah.
And I guess to give a full timeline, I believe we sold officially in December of 2021.
Okay.
The contract wasn't finalized until I want to say like June, July. I have very intense lawyers. and my agent was great, but then my lawyers are family friends. So of course they took the whole thing very personally. And my mother was involved. And so they took their sweet time with that contract, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for. But that was a long kind of lead up. And then the book publishes officially in January of 2024. So being able, like I said, to have that support system that early on in the drafting process was just really great for me, in the sense that I didn't feel at any point that I was veering into a territory that would get ultimately axed. Everybody was on the same page the whole time, pretty much. The interesting part about that is when you are getting right up to that deadline, and the book is starting to morph or metamorphose into something that you didn't originally envision, and you have to reach out to people and say, hey, I know this may not be what I originally proposed or what was in the original outline, but would you guys be comfortable with a change? And having the team kind of have feedback on that.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different from just being yourself and saying, well, this doesn't work, I'm going to make the changes I need to make.
Right.
Now you have a group of people that have already invested in the book and invested in the ultimate goal, and they're going to have a say in any changes you make to what was originally proposed, which was interesting after just being kind of a free agent for a while. And in terms of times when I've had to advocate for my book, it's like I said, my team has been uniquely supportive. I think there's never been a time where I felt that I had to really defend any of my decisions or push back on any of theirs. There have been times, I think, when there's been miscommunication, when we've both had to kind of explain our perspective, but it never felt like a hand reaching in to twist the soul of the book in any way. It always felt very, very much in my control in that sense. And that might, of course, been just a placebo effect. They might have just been doing that to keep me calm and quiet and and collaborative. But overall that's been a really positive experience, and I can't thank my editor Cassidy enough, and I'll tell her every day for the rest of my life that I would have completely floundered this whole experience if she hadn't been so supportive and on top of me, but also she had a lot of faith in me. And when I had negative zero faith in myself. So that's been the great part of this entire process for me so far, is having that type of support.
I love that. The author editor relationship is such a close relationship. I don't think people really go in knowing that. It's surprising.
Yeah.
Right.
What about you, Etta?
Mine has been pretty much a collaboration, like from the start. I wrote my book, I think maybe I started writing it in 2020, finished it in 2022 because I wanted to jump into this mentorship program, and I got accepted. So I had 2 mentors that helped me overhaul just to make it better. Like it was a quick mentorship. It was like 3 months, but I pretty much rewrote the whole book probably in about a month and a half. That was in 2022. So then a couple months later, I signed with my agent, and we did a very fast edit round. I think I worked on edits maybe about like 3 weeks. Went on sub. She sold it in a preempt. And then my editor, she's like, it's already pretty strong. So there were some things that we had to work on, but it was mostly like digging in deep.
Nice.
Adding a couple of scenes, adding some more fluff, which I loved. That was great. And I mean, it was, I don't know, like the hardest thing actually was the mentorship program and that was really just like typing everything from third person to first person point of view. Yeah, like I thought my arms were gonna fall off.
My stomach just dropped.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
The worst edit I've ever done was a tense change.
Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts bad.
Can't get around it. It sucks.
Yeah. But I mean, I loved it. Like it was funny when I first started writing the book. First, I put it in first. I'm like, I'll just do third. I did it in third, and then I'm like, I guess I should have stuck with first, right? But yeah, that was the biggest thing. I didn't really have like anything that I needed to push back on with my editor. Like she's great. She knew like what to add to really help my vision come to life even more. I want to say like maybe the most pushback I had was on the cover, which even then was the placement of the rocket. So I think y'all are gonna have a picture of it. So you'll see the rocket is in a good spot. Before it was a little bit lower. So we were calling him Rocket Butt because of like it was coming from his butt, right?
Amazing. That's a different kind of romance. Different kind of book, yeah.
Jill, look at both of us.
I see you.
You tell we talk all the time.
Yeah. So going from that, it has made now working on book 2 a little bit different because now I'm back on my own. I do have people I can bounce ideas off of, but I mean, just starting over and
Is it an option? Do you have an option?
It was a 2-book deal.
A 2 books. So kind of starting with your editor kind of from the beginning a little bit. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just want to say, like, quick side note, it's so nice to talk to other romance writers because you get to use fluff in like not a pejorative way. It's like fluff is great. Like I want more fluff in my books. Like give me all the fluff. Instead of like, oh, it was too fluffy. It's like,
we need to have more romance authors on the pod.
Pro fluff.
That's our thing.
So pro fluff.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
More romance representation. We'll work on that for that. Yes. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a turn here and ask what everyone has done to protect your mental health and your peace on this debut journey, and something that you're planning to do as things ramp up for debuting.
It can be, like, so the great thing, right? We've said it again with our Slack, we can look at what everybody's doing, but it can be definitely anxiety inducing. Or you can compare yourself too much. So what I try to do is not be on it too much. I'm also at the point now where reviews are starting to come in. I have looked at them. luckily I haven't had like anything too bad yet. But what really helps me is actually just focusing on my second book. Like there's nothing else I can do for the first book. So it's like I kind of just put that into a folder in my brain and put it away and just try to focus on the second book. That helps a lot to have something else to focus on.
Yeah, that's everything you've done, Etta, I aspire towards, because I'm in a definite spiral. I've been in a spiral since 2021.
Oh, no.
And it's especially during the drafting process, like writing on that tight of a deadline was an experience. It was a challenge in so many ways, and I think trying to find a way to control your space and keep a sense of peace in yourself during that time was super challenging for me. You can ask my family; they will attest to like finding me at 3 a.m. bent over this computer, concerned about me and my state of being. But as we've gone into this kind of prep year leading up to debut year, like Etta said, the Slack has been a huge support group. It's kind of been a relief to be able to reach out to people and ask questions and don't have to worry about asking your editor a question that will somehow make you seem unprofessional or jeopardize their view of you in some way, or like having to annoy your agent asking them a question, or anything that kind of interferes with that professional relationship. Now you could have a whole group of people who are having similar experiences and have this great wealth of knowledge and insight that you can talk to, who aren't going to judge you super harshly for asking those questions or make terrible assumptions about you. So the Slack has been a great support in that way. I know some people are probably really tired of me messaging and asking questions. But it's been that's been a great key for me, at least in this part of the process, is having that group of people and that community to lean on. Going and I'm trying to get to where you are with the reviews. I just got my first couple of really random reviews from random people, and I took them very personally.
Oh no!
but I've decided that I think I just won't read any of them, because I know myself now.
Yeah,
I know
and
myself.
now that you say that, I would love to ask Etta, are you gonna read reviews? Like, I know people say don't read reviews or have someone else read reviews. Like, what was your thought process of like, no, I'm gonna read my own reviews, you can't tell me what to do?
I was like, at first I was like, okay, I'm not gonna read reviews, but then I'm like, well, I mean, what are they saying? Do they like it?
But I want to know.
Right.
Yes. Like, I have to know.
Yeah.
So now I just read them. I don't. I'm probably gonna get to a point, like if I get a first bad one, I don't know, maybe I'll stop. I'm too nosy. I don't know. I have to know.
Yeah. I don't know.
So you have to like balance your priorities there.
Yeah.
Your nosiness versus
Yeah. Like I can refresh my Goodreads like once every hour. If I don't have enough discipline, I have to tell myself, don't do that.
Put it on a timer. Okay. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's good. Not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
Have like a timer of like, I'll do it for this amount of time. If you have to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like social media. I mean, but it's like social media like about yourself. So it's like, of course, you're like, tell me more about what you think about me.
That sounds
like
great.
The dopamine hits, I feel like, are just like, that'd be a hard one to step away from.
Right.
That's true. Right. Even the bad ones. Yeah, mental health stuff. I mean, so Beatrice, you've heard me talk about my my hope portfolio, diversifying my hope portfolio. So like, this is my like grand philosophy. This, like, when I was on sub, this helped me a lot, because there's so much waiting and you're like, oh my gosh, I really hope I get a book deal. What helped me the most was like diversifying the number of other things that I was hopeful about. So I like started gardening, and I planned a vacation, and I like planned a bunch of pranks on my husband, and I did a bunch of funny things that I was like also looking forward to as a way to just like kind of diversify like the like eggs like in my hope baskets, right? So
diversifying the eggs in your hope
in my hope basket.
Y'all hear this? Sis is preaching.
Yeah, I was like,
yes.
Well, you're the poet, so I can't really.
This is a different kind of wisdom.
But like looking forward to the next year, like I have some tiny like home decorating projects I want to do. I have like a couple of small vacations I want to do. I think this is why like drafting something new also works for me, because I get hopeful about like a new project, you know. But yeah, I need to think about like other things that I'm really excited about that will help me just remember, like, give me perspective that like I have a life outside of all of this, and like there's stuff to be hopeful about there too. So
low-key a philosopher.
Let's talk about marketing. So are y'all planning to do any marketing outreach on your own? I feel like in the Slack there's such a diversity of people who are like, my publisher said they've got it and I'm gonna let them handle it, and like I'm not lifting a finger, to like I'm going to like print my own book boxes and do my own influencer campaign, right?
Some people like hire like their own publicist.
Yeah, pay my own publicist.
There's there's a big spectrum.
Yeah, so where do y'all fall on that spectrum? Are you gonna get involved and like roll your sleeves up at all, or let your publisher handle it? And have you had a peek at any marketing plans for your books yet?
It's interesting what that spectrum is, because it's you convince yourself, or at least I feel like I convinced myself very early on, that I was going to be very much in it. Like I was going to be emailing every indie bookstore and writing everybody personal notes, introducing myself, and I'm going to send my book to every corner of the world, and I'm going to be my own best advocate. And I think especially getting into, you know, book 2 prep and things like that, some things you feel like you shrug off a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like my marketing team has been really proactive. I've really appreciated all of the efforts they've made so far and how transparent they are with everything. And they've also just been really, really upfront with me. And I think that was the biggest thing that I needed. They set my expectations really early on, like expectations for, you know, how we feel about certain book boxes, how we feel about reviews, how we feel about book clubs, just so I knew at that point that there's only so much I can do, that nothing I do is going to significantly move the needle in that regard. So I think that was a huge relief for me. I did do a lot of legwork a bit early on, just collecting a lot of names. I collected a lot of like influencer or like book talk or booktuber or bookstagram names, just to share with my publisher to see if we had the same list. Different lists of like podcasts that I thought would be good for the book, list of, you know, by POC indie bookstores that I thought would be interested in the book. I live in Memphis, Tennessee, so I collected a lot of media contact information for Memphis people, just so they can have that as well. So I did what little legwork I thought I could do at this stage, but I feel like I've come to the conclusion that the big things that are going to influence the life of the book, that only my marketing and publicity team have the bandwidth to make those things happen. I can make suggestions, and when they ask me to do something, I try to be as proactive and on top of it as I can. But I also try to not judge my marketing efforts too harshly, like thinking that I mean, of course, I think I've talked to some people. Everybody feels like that one TikTok is going to go viral.
What is it about
the like, sell 1 million copies?
The way it has its claws in me. I'm like, oh, just one more hashtag. It's gonna do
exactly.
it.
Be the one.
Exactly.
It's brutal.
Exactly. So I feel like I harbor a little bit of that, like that hope that this one very niche social media post that is going to be seen by 600 people.
I loved your most recent very niche social media post. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, thank you. I had to give myself a little pat on the back for that one, and I knew specifically Jill with your interest in musical theater.
I was gonna say, like, I'm your target audience of one, and it
exactly.
It
was like, well, Jill will like this.
Got me
Jill
right
will
here.
appreciate this. So I feel like I still harbor some of those, you know, instinctual kind of hopes and dreams in terms of what I can do marketing wise, but I have to have faith in the team at this point. And like I said, when they established the expectations early on, that took a lot of weight off my shoulders, even though I still wait for that call from Oprah. I'm not going to get it. I think we've all agreed, but I check my phone every day. But yeah. And then we'll see. As the months go in, we'll see what the marketing looks like as it gets a little bit more, you know, robust and proactive. But it's been positive so far, as I tell myself as I cry.
I was going to say that your approach sounded really healthy, Avery, until you said you were crying. I was like, oh, she's gonna let the publisher handle it, and then she's like, but it's fine.
You have to let it go. It's like I feel like I would forget who I was speaking with about this, but it feels like in some sense the book's fate is decided 9 months out.
For
you know,
sure.
and
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do. So
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the marketing and the publicity on a large scale,
Yeah.
that you have to let it go at some point and let the professionals do what they do on a regular basis. Now, they've always been very, my team has really spoken up grassroots efforts, like just connecting with people. Like if you are next to somebody on a plane and you see they're reading a book that is similar vibes to your book, you're like, hey, I'm writing a book, here's my card, you know, that can move the needle in some sense. But in terms of you know, hoping for a huge viral success, that's all on you. That you have to let the professionals and your publisher take some of that load, just so you can have some peace of mind, you know.
I haven't had my marketing and publicity meeting just yet. We have introduced ourselves, or have been introduced to them through email, and I mean, so far the marketing team has done a good job. They were able to get my book into Buzz Books by Publisher Week, Publishers Marketplace.
Yes.
So there was an excerpt in there, and I got an early NetGalley release, which has been great. So, I mean, like pretty much like my attitude is like, I'm not really expecting anything. So I'm just grateful for whatever does happen. I mean, I'm hoping that some big TikToker will find it and post about it and go viral, right?
Yes.
I mean, but as far as marketing, like myself, like I've introduced myself to my local bookstore, and I've tried TikTok. I think I've got one TikTok video up there, and my face isn't even on it. I mean, I'm more Instagram, so I was more, I'm not really, I don't know, I'm not really doing much. I'm just letting the marketing team handle it. I mean, I think they're pretty good actually about marketing romance books, which is great. I go into my bookstore. There's shelves of Berkeley books on there. It's just filled with Berkeley books, which is great. So yeah, I mean, I know it's, I guess like for the long haul, I'm thinking of, you know, just building up. I don't expect that this book, I'm hoping that this book will get me up there for Oprah to call. But maybe if not this book, the next one or the one after that. So just as long as I can keep on writing.
Yeah. I feel like that's such a healthy goal. Like, I feel like you can list all of the like amazing things, like the book clubs, the like movie adaptations, like all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like just for someone else to give you another contract is like, that's a win. Because that is hard enough, right? Like, like just to keep getting to do this is a victory. I do want to come back to that comment you made, Avery, about how like sometimes it feels like the fate of the book is decided like 9 months in advance. Because I think, you know, listeners may not know a lot of like the big distribution and marketing stuff like does happen like months and months before the book even comes out. So you know, sales teams are pitching to like the major bookstores. You know, the bookstores will decide like how many copies of the book to buy and if it's going to get, you know, a premium placement. All that stuff happens like 9 months at least, you know, before a book is coming out, and like that's kind of like is what it is. You know, publishers internally will quote unquote launch a book to their marketing and publicity and sales teams about a year before the publication date. So your editor comes and gives, you know, an excerpt or the whole manuscript and, you know, the cover if there's one already, you know, some high level like marketing ideas, like a pitch of the book. And, you know, the powers that be kind of discuss, you know, all of their books in that season and figure out like who's going to get what. You know, they have resources, they have plans and teams and budget, you know, for certain types of promotion, and they have to kind of split it up among, you know, the books that are coming out that season. So all that happens way in advance, and it can be kind of hard as an author to navigate that because you know, it feels way too early to be trying to like build buzz and hype for your book or do any sort of like, you know, notice me, but at the same time like it's hard to know that those meetings are going on and not feel like you need to be like, pick me, like I'm over here, like I've got some Goodreads ads, I've got, you know, some followers. Yeah. And so it's just like, what do you do? Like it feels crazy to be like, you know, doing the song and dance that early, but it's also like, are they paying attention? Like, are they visiting my Goodreads page? Are they checking me out on Twitter? Are they, seeing if there's appetite and energy around, my quick pitch of my story? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. For mental health, probably just like try to burn it all down, probably is the answer. But for selling books, I don't know. It's really hard. Do y'all have thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's hard. I pretend that stuff doesn't exist. So
I think that is the answer. I think that is the answer. Yeah.
Like, I'm just, like, I'm always surprised when something does happen. Like, I mean, just like even selling the book. Mm-hmm. It's like my agent, she's great. She sold it. Like, we went on sub. Say like 2 or 3 days later, she had texted me I was asleep, and she sent me a message. She's like, "Are you awake?" And I was like, "Oh, I am now."
Yes. What do you have to say?
No, that's right.
Right. So like, what a way to start.
For you, absolutely. What is going on?
Like pretty much anything that happens, I'm just surprised and grateful. I mean, I really want people to read my book and to love it. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, I never even thought that I would get this far. I had hoped, certainly. So I'm just trying to enjoy the ride and, hope that they do have big plans for my book. I would love to see it in Target.
I could totally see your book in Target, Etta. Like, it's such a perfect Target book.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Both of y'all's books belong in Target and everywhere else.
I love it.
And yours too, Jill. Yours was great.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you too, Jill.
Oh yeah, my book. Well, I feel like, I mean, like, even though we're in the same year, it's like, I feel
Jill's
like,
here too.
No, I feel like y'all are the seniors and I'm like the like freshman, like maybe sophomore, because your books are coming out like next quarter. Like, your books are coming out like first quarter of 2024, and mine is like September. So I'm like, what's going on, guys? Like, what are your covers like? Like, oh, cool.
You have wild.
Pre-orders?
It is wild this distance that you are putting between yourself and other debuts who are coming out mere months before yourself.
But it feels like a huge gap, because I'm like, ooh, pre-order links. That's
and that
cool.
is fair, though, because a lot does happen in between that time.
Yeah,
it's just wild that is a truth. That you're like, wow,
it really is.
They're in a totally different. They're over there. They're
I'm like, oh, they're the grown-ups, and I'm like, I have a Word doc. You want to see my Word doc? Like, it's not even like a locked PDF. Like, it's still like I can make any change I want.
The power's still in your hands.
Yeah. Whereas like Etta has like formatted past pages with like the print hatches and all this stuff. And I'm like, like, I can change my main character's name tomorrow if I wanted.
It's beautiful.
It's great.
Don't resent that power.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I will wish I could still change things in a few months, I'm sure. That's a really good point.
I know we talked a little bit about going to libraries, bookstores, and introducing yourself as an author. What has that been like for y'all, making the jump from like emailing and on Zoom and like that kind of stuff to looking a human in their face and saying, I'm an author, care about that?
It's been a little bit terrifying,
if
I'm being quite honest. In terms of the process of connecting with like libraries and bookstores, my publisher was as soon as I got my arcs, they were like, go out into the world and connect with the book people that are close to you. So I did those rotations, and it I don't know, it made me flash back to like being in high school trying to apply for colleges, like trying to convince these people that you respect, that you are of interest, and that they should take a look at you and consider you. And we put all of my arcs in these gift bags with like pretty paper and little handwritten notes and stuff, and it's like, it tried to make it very sweet and intentional about it, but still it's a little terrifying, because especially growing up, you get used to people kind of not demeaning but almost infantile, like, what is the word, infantilizing that may be the word, or just making you feel small for wanting to be a writer, for kind of patting you on the head. It's like, oh, okay, that's sweet. No, what are you really going to do?
Right.
So now trying to approach people as a professional is like, no, yes, this is what I do, and I need you in order for this to continue.
Right.
That's been a bit of a terrifying experience, but also everyone book people are so supportive and get so excited for you and for whatever it is that's happening with you. So that's been a great part of it, seeing that people can be so excited and they don't know anything about you or the book, but still be willing to support has been great. What is it? And we haven't done any readings or really events yet. I had a webinar maybe a few weeks ago with some other historical fiction authors, which was also terrifying because some of these people were heavy hitters, like full on professionals who have 12 books under their belt, and you just fully being in this writing career, and I'm this little debut, with one book coming out, and they're talking about their 15th book and a 6-book series, and that was very intimidating. But again, it's very early on, you see that how supportive everyone is and how everyone just wants everybody else to succeed. And a little bit of an aside, but that what you were saying, Beatrice, about what it's like having somebody kind of look you in your face, like breathing your air, talking about your book. I work at a optometry school, and one of the students who we've been pretty close, and she's reading the book, and this person came into my office and just sat down and was like, so I've read 300 pages, I have notes. And it was terrifying. I was seized by this very existential dread. It's like, you're going to look me in my face right here and tell me your thoughts and opinions? Like, yes, I have many of them. And she's just reading them off. And it was so scary because this is beyond the point of feedback that you can then take and put into the book. And
the book is finished at this point.
Exactly. So it really brought home the idea that this product and this project is about to be perceived broadly and widely, and it's past the point where you can take feedback and try to make it into something that everybody's going to like. People are going to have notes and thoughts and opinions and feedback, and at this point all you can do is embrace it and take it and acknowledge it, and you can't try to change what the book is anymore. And that was a whole wake-up call, and I'm still not quite over it yet.
I haven't gotten any physical arcs yet. I'm hoping that I will. So far I have gone to my local bookstore, and it was super scary. I bought a book and I was checking it out and I was like, hey, real.
Speaking of books. Real
oh
smooth.
My gosh, real smooth.
Speaking of
so
books.
scary. But they were just so nice. Like, oh my gosh, we have a lot of romance books here. So I mean, they were so nice, and I was surprised when I went back a couple of weeks later that the person had actually recognized me. They're like, hey, you get your publicist to reach out to us.
Yeah,
they know me.
That's awesome. You made it. That's awesome.
I haven't reached out to anybody yet, or anybody else. I did have a couple of friends, like I had with my past pages, I had printed them and I showed my friends. I'm like, okay, go ahead and read the first page. So that they're reading, I'm just watching them. Like, okay, what do you think? It's funny, huh? Right.
Right, exactly. Do you love it? Do you love it?
See what a good writer I am? I'm so good at this. You tell me I'm good at this.
Yes.
Like, you agree, yes?
Yeah, exactly. We agree I'm the best. So now that I'm like getting close to like line edits being done and stuff, and it's like, there might be typos or word changes, but like the story is kind of locked. Like friends are now like more aggressively asking me for like the PDF and stuff, like people that I know in like real life. It's such a weird balance between like not wanting to be perceived and like, I will never send this to you to like, okay, you can have it, but you have to like live text me every single page, right? Like maybe that's the bargain, is like, you're allowed to read it if you tell me everything you think about it the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, can you just do inline comments for me? So, like, just like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's really hard. It's awesome. And I feel like too, like when I first got the book deal, there was like this urge to go immediately to bookstores and libraries and be like, I'm an author. And it's like, yeah, in like 2 years. Right. And so like now that like things are kind of starting to progress, like, I guess there's like, you guys didn't stop by and say like, hey, you can get ARCs on like Edelweiss, or like there was no like check out my book, or it's more like thinking about like events and stuff?
Yeah, for me, it was more so for advance.
No, similarly. And Memphis is a great book community, but we have very few bookstores. So like once you visit a store a couple of times, you become pretty familiar with the person, and they become pretty familiar with you. So kind of along those same lines as Etta said, it was more about what are we doing when the book launches. I think everybody was already under the impressions like, okay, yeah, we're on board. So
cool.
how can we make some money?
Yeah, right, exactly.
So that was the shift after.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, nothing wrong with that. That's great.
Okay, I have advice for authors who want to work on introducing themselves to people in real life.
I need this. Yes.
Go to probably a library, because the books there are free. Go to a library and introduce yourself to the librarian as, I'm an author. I am thinking of writing a picture book about trees. Can you help me find a picture book about trees?
Oh, interesting.
Now they are invested in a different way. You are involving them in a like conversation, and you're introducing yourself in like a really organic way. And I did that for the first time. It was terrifying, but very smart, I think, because it was very like organic. Like,
yeah,
hey, I'm
real.
I'm an author. I'm looking for picture books. I want to write about a picture book about trees. Can you help me out with that?
Yeah.
And especially at a library, they are excited to, find a book for you because you're an author and because they love books there. So that's my advice.
Cool. I like that.
That's great.
Feel free to do with that what you will.
I love that.
That's great. And then it gets everybody involved. So like a year later,
people and it's a conversation.
As
opposed to I'm an author.
Yeah. Right. And that's all I've got.
And that's it. And then this is much more of a, and let's talk.
Yeah.
I like, so that's my advice.
I like that
that's very good. Thank you.
Yeah. It can feel so like transactional. Like, so I really like that, because it's like a true,
and that's why
like,
I said library is better. The books are free. I find librarians oftentimes have a little bit more of a like, their library is much more of a like home base for them.
Yeah.
And I really like the local aspect of a library. You can go to a local library. Then you are also introducing yourself to this community at large in a way that a bookstore is a little bit different. But yeah, so that's my advice.
I love that. Our wrap-up question is, what is something you'll do differently for your next book now that you've gone through this experience?
That's a very interesting question, because it feels like when you're still in the experience of the full debut year, you don't know what's even working yet. You don't you have no idea how any of this is going to turn out.
Very fair.
And that makes it terrifying working on the book 2 process as well. Because you're kind of waiting to see how will book 1 make its impact, and how do I need to mimic that in book 2? Do I need to go completely different in book 2?
Right.
But I guess on a practical level, in terms of what I feel like I'll probably do differently next time around, is just internally try to lean on my instincts and experience a bit more. I feel like going through this first process, every step of the way, I felt deeply inadequate and thought constantly like, I cannot do this. I am not meant to do this. I have to stop it. We'll just stop everything. Stop. We can't do this anymore. And I think, you spend so many years working and dreaming and striving for this. And then once you're in it, there's that imposter syndrome, of course, thinking that this has all been some mistake. And eventually someone will wake up and tell you that you're in the wrong room. And I think with book 2 or this next experience, acknowledging that this is your life now, and that you have achieved this. This is your profession. This is your job. It's not a dream anymore. It's the means by which you make your way in the world, and really, really internalizing that.
Yeah, I think for me, like what Avery said, it has mostly to do with imposter syndrome. Like I feel like they're gonna be like, you wrote this, and they put it on shelves. Okay, great. So I mean, for me, it's gonna be mostly believing like, yeah, this is. I mean, I'm an author. It's what I do.
Right.
So just pretty much believing in myself, and if I have questions, I mean, I tell myself I'll actually take it to my agent or editor instead of inundating the Slack group. Like, I know people are there, but
right.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to be a little bit more, assertive, or like you're graduating, you're no longer a newbie in publishing.
Yeah.
Even though it still feels like, I feel like even like years from now, I'm going to have questions, but just, try to rely on the things that I have learned so far.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank y'all for being here.
We talked a little bit about your social media handles. We'll do those one more time, but I also want for you guys to share your titles one more time and also the pub date.
So the title is The Mayor of Maxwell Street, coming out January 30th, 2024. In terms of websites and social media, I do have a brand new website, averycunninghamauthor.com. I can be found on Instagram and TikTok at Avery Writes Big Books, and then Twitter, if you're still lingering there, at AA_Cunningham.
Mine is The Kiss Countdown. It comes out April 9th, 2024. My website is ettaeaston.com. And you can find me on Instagram at Etta Writes Romance, and Twitter. No, well, I mean, I have Twitter. It's author Etta. I'm not there very much.
Don't look for you there. Yeah.
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 And
don't look for me on Twitter.
And I do have a TikTok. It is at author Etta. And again, I've got like 4 videos, but I mean, maybe one of these days you'll see one that's gone viral. I don't know.
Etta's on Instagram, y'all. You've heard it here. Yeah. So
start there.
Start there if you're looking for Etta.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend.